uncharacteristically quiet while Tony Bellew was talking. And he was asked for his prediction on Tyson Fury against Oleksandr Usyk. And among other comments, he said that Tyson Fury only had a puncher's chance. And just to give him a bit more shade, he's not that big of a puncher anyway. The bomber's words, not mine. And that, when I say the bomber, it is not connected with any atrocities around the world. Just to echo one of Adam Smith's more infamous moments there. But yeah, Tony Bellew, was he throwing shade at Tyson Fury, or is that what he really feels? And is there any, veracity, any credibility to that opinion? We want to know what you guys think. So we're going to put a poll out, and we'll keep it simple. Bellew, we'll just say Bellew salty or sensible, yes, or salty or sensible. There'll be the two options. But just know when we say that, we're talking specifically about his comments on Tyson Fury. Eamon, what did you make of those comments?
I was quite surprised that Tony was diminishing Fury's chances in a fight against Usyk. Now, I know that I imagine a lot of it will come from the fight that he had with Usyk. He knows firsthand how good an operator Usyk is, although he might have been winning the fight on some of the judges' scorecards at the time. It didn't end in his favor with Tony looking up at the lights by the end of the night, by the end of the final bell. So I imagine a lot of that has a bit to do with Tony's experience with the current unified heavyweight champion. But I believe, if I'm right in saying that maybe Fury and Bellew aren't the best of bedfellows, I guess it is in the past. And I remember harking back to at least the one clip that gets thrown up every now and again on Twitter, or X as it is, Twitter X, whatever you want to call it, of Fury calling that David Price and Tony Bellew catching a stray or two as well. So I think a lot of it might come from that as well too. But to count Fury out and diminish him to having a puncher's chance really kind of baffles me out. Now I get that off of the back of Fury's last performance, he didn't look great. He didn't look good against Francis Ngannou. Fury didn't pull any excuses out. Fury was, a lot more quiet and not shouting to the rafters as he does do post-fights and such. But some people might see that as a sign of decline. Some of the signs coming out of the camp is there's a sign of decline. Or sometimes, or you might believe that actually the camp went good and such and such. We had a lot of things coming out of it. Maybe Bellew's putting those little bits and blocks together to come up to a conclusion to say that Fury's just not the person he was, and he's going to get bamboozled in the ring against Usyk when it comes to May. But for me, I can't agree with Tony Bellew saying that he believes Fury has a puncher's chance. This is the leading heavyweight of our generation. This is the man who, when you've counted him out beforehand, when you've counted him out in ring, live, in action, he's risen to occasion. He's risen to the challenge. I think, again, he'll rise to the challenge and the occasion against Usyk. I do personally still pick Usyk as the winner as of right now, but it's a closer fight than someone having just a puncher's chance for sure.
Yeah, let's go to the chat. I can see that Salty has taken an early lead in our poll about Tony Bellew's comments. Paranormal Immortal says Tyson has huge reach. He's put it all in caps, so we know it's really huge. Says more power and is a switcher, but only has a puncher's chance. Laughing my arse off, Bellew. Anderson de Silva says hope Tyson wins. Winner fights Hughie Fury. Correct. I think that's incorrect, Anderson de Silva. Ariel Esteban Bracamonte. I love it when they use these like average heavyweights, no offense, monikers. Can you imagine being in a clinch with Hughie, be covered in blood and pus? Oh, I am imagining it now, actually. Thanks for that. Ramoni Mode XD, what do you think about apparently Bellew coming out of retirement at 42 or something? I think he should stay retired. I think he achieved the absolute peak of not only his career, but a lot of fighters' careers when he had that great night at Goodison Park. I don't think he's got anything else to prove. Unless he's running out of money, I think he should stay retired, doing the punditry work and so on. Tarmac one says, Eamon looks like he's had a go at combing his hair. That's all we ask. All we ask is effort. Tarmac one then follows it up by saying, Bellew has never got over being called David Price's gay lover, which is the comment that Eamon was referring to back in, I think it was on Channel 5 back in the day. You plumber from Liverpool. I can't do the impression. Funnily enough, David Price does a cracking Tyson Fury impression. But also, that was never likely because, David Price, quite a handsome looking man. No offense to Tony Bellew, but you talk about puncher's chance. No, that was a flattering description from Fury. Eamon, mate, book yourself a stopover in Turkey on the way to Saudi. Get yourself a new trim, fella, says DB Cooper 1.
I'll go bold gracefully.
I'm sure you've missed DB Cooper 1. Phil Mitchell, if only. Tony Bellew wants Usyk to really win. I can see straight through his narrative. Makes his own severe knockout to Usyk look a bit more beautiful. Yeah, it was a cracking shot, to be fair. Larry Liston, call me crazy. I still got Fury beating Usyk in a close competitive affair. Could be controversial, perhaps. DB Cooper 1 follows up. If Johnny Nelson is a company man, talking about catching strays, Big Johnny's just caught one there, then Tony Bellew is the company itself. His U-turn on Conor Benn made me lose all respect for a guy who was vocal on drugs in sports. Yeah, I mean, we could turn this into a complete Bellew character assassination, but I don't think that's entirely fair or would necessarily fit into our allotted time. Leon the Canteen, good to hear from you again. It's been a while. Says, a puncher's chance for a non-puncher is like 10% chance. It's not a 90-10 Usyk fight, even if you're picking Usyk. Very good point. Liam66, Bellew's so company man. He championed a man who works for a state government that outlaws homosexuality, which Bellew himself said he's proud to have in his family. We're getting very deep very early on here, and no, that is not a euphemism. Cloud Strife, a puncher's chance is mad disrespectful. Jay Sharp, Bellew in need of media attention more than Ab Fab women. Ab Fab? That's a dated reference, is it? Coming from the 42-year-old in the chat. Who else? CNP Russell CNP says, doesn't Porky's Corner say it how it is? Pop, pop, bang. Yeah, I mean, I've never watched it, but I'm sure he does. But we say it how it is too, and maybe with a more refined vocabulary as well. No, but I've never seen it, so I wouldn't know that for sure. Ramoni Mode XD is asking about Canelo. We will be getting on to the Canelo news a bit later on. But I want to talk about another element of the Bellew comments because he was very specific in his prediction. He said that if Tyson Fury was still being trained by his uncle, Peter Fury, and by the way, we've got a lovely exclusive interview with Peter Fury on the channel at the moment. Lovely segue there. He said if he was still trained by Peter Fury and employing the style that he predominantly had when he was working with Peter, which was that kind of move, jab and move, counter-punching style, then he would be backing him to beat Usyk. The reason, or the main reason he's backing Usyk to win is that Fury is now a front foot counter-puncher under Sugar Hill Stewart, and he doesn't think that style has any hope of working against Usyk. Eamon, your thoughts on that?
You know what? I don't know, and that's not to discredit Peter Fury and his coaching abilities and to whether that style specifically would beat Usyk. But for my penny's worth here, I actually feel that that's not the way round to defeat Usyk. We've seen fighters try to box with Usyk beforehand to no real avail. Joshua, quite famously, and then there was the implosion afterwards, quite infamously. Tony Bellew did well to a degree, but that was all leading up to the eventual finish. The best of the bunch so far, especially at heavyweight for me, is Derek Chisora's performance against Oleksandr Usyk. Dubois did well in fits and spurts, but nothing really to cry or shout home about, whereas Chisora really had levels of success, and Chisora really kind of put him on in there in that first fight. Oh, in that one fight, sorry, my apologies. And I see sort of the game plan, or at least parts of the game plan blueprint there for Fury. And that I don't remember Fury really kind of leaning or using his size in those moments where he was boxing in amongst that style. Or I think he does. I think that's a big part of his game right now under Sugar Hill, is to use his size, is to use his reach and try and go for the finish where he can. And I think that's what he'll need to do. I think he'll need to lean on. And these are all things that you've heard broken down a lot beforehand. But I just think to take away your physical advantages doesn't sound like to me as the best route of action or best route of success for Tyson Fury. So it's a hard one because of the hypothetical nature of it and just how well Fury did do as a boxer in that boxing stance and boxing sense. So, yeah, I can see merits in Tony Bellew's argument, but for me, I still think he's on the right path with a Sugar Hill Kronk style against Usyk.